name from the last Commander set, and it's definitely, I mean, it's had a pretty good showing today. It's all over the place, it looks like.
Well, this is going to be kind of fun because I haven't seen 10 Fins for a little while, and this is a deck that was kind of designed by the Legacy group out there to get Gristlebrand into Gristleband, which is a mouthful. Time for this card to go. This deck can kill you on turn 1. It goes through some pretty crazy means to do so, but if you get a Gristlebrand into play and start activating it, that is, that's going to be it. With Children of Corliss and the other things that this deck can do. All I'm saying is if you haven't seen this deck before, you're going to want to stay put because if it does its thing, it is sweet, and that means that Nathan has done his thing 7 times.
Yep, so buckle up, friends. I'm looking at the sideboard of this Esper Stoneblade player, and I see a Zealous Persecution, so any Tom Martell out there that's listening, somebody doesn't even want to change the sideboard.
No,
like.
Spirit Tokens, they still got to go.
Yeah, Spirit Tokens, It does kill True Name Nemesis.
That's true.
That's true, yes. I thought you were making a joke.
No, you're right. What else do you want me to say?
You are correct.
Yeah.
No, see, that's true. True Name Nemesis. Yeah. See what
yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sorry. All right, I'll move on. All right, so we've got Sword of Fire and Ice on the sideboard. I always want to play this. So, like, the kid in me says, I want to draw cards and burn them at the same time.
Okay.
And I think it's a very good card. It just doesn't do enough compared to GT or Batterskull. I'm sure, if you have it in play against the Stoneblade Mirror, it's pretty good. It's hard to win when you're getting bash here. You can't Jace bounce it pro blue. It's something that not many cards have nowadays, so it might come into play more often than not. So I don't know who is in the advantage in this matchup. Tin Fins is one of those decks that's very draw dependent, I think. Looks like Nathan is mulligan to 6 here. And we'll see if he keeps.
Nope, down to 5.
All right, so we're going to 5.
This deck is really explosive. It can certainly mulligan to a hand that could still put a Gristlebrand into play on turn 2. And you saw, or turn 1 or turn 2, excuse me. And you've seen with his mulligans, he hasn't even thought twice about mulliganing. He just says, looks at his opening 7 or 6, and he says, yeah, easy mulligan, move down, which leads me to believe that he's probably taken some mulligans over the course of the day and still been able to win despite that.
Another reason why he's can mulligan to 5 and just win anyway, because Kyle's got a bunch of dead cards in his deck. True Name Nemesis is pretty awful against this deck.
Yeah.
Probably the most awful card you could possibly have, because not only does he not really care about creatures, I mean, by the time you hit him for 3 damage enough, the game is, you're in your court anyway. He's got Baleful Strix. It's kind of an interesting card, but not very good against this deck. The cantrip's not so important. He's got 4 Sword of Plowshares. Not again, you're looking at these cards in the Stoneblade deck that really can't interact with a deck like this. You can't really Sword to Plowshare and Emrakul to death.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Engineer Explosive, Jite, just tons of cards that really do nothing. So Kyle might think he has a good hand, but he could just have an I'm dead hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The question here is, does he know what he's playing against? Does he know he's playing against this crazy combo deck with Gristlebrand? If he does, maybe he takes mulligan, or maybe he's already found a good hand. But if he doesn't, if you think he's playing like against a normal deck, and Zamora has been known to play burn in previous tournaments too, then he might have a hand that you mentioned where there's just a lot of dead ones that don't really do anything.
Yep, and that's the danger of Stoneblade Game 1. When you look at your 75, you're comfortable, because after Game 1, you take out all these swords and all these, like if you have Verdicts or Engineering Explosives and all these big mass removal spells, and you bring in the combo hate cards. You have Surgicals, and he has Meddling Mages times 4.
That's a lot of those.
That's a lot of Meddling Mages.
Yeah.
I'm packing 0 currently, but in a metagame where you expect a lot of show and tell, Meddling Mage is pretty good.
Marsh Flats to start the show here for Zamora. Going to pass the turn back. Does have a basic swamp. It looks like a couple discard spells in hand as well. Edward's going to reveal what he's playing momentarily, which of course you guys know at home is Esper Stoneblade, as do we here in the booth. Edward's sitting at 6-1-1 while Zamora's sitting at 7-1. So Zamora, the other 7-1s, they're drawn, but he got the pair down.
Yep, and in these legacy tournaments, we're not well ahead of the 9-round cuff here. You can draw most of the time. A lot of times in these standard tournaments, we had 628 players yesterday.
Yep.
There's no drawing to be had.
No.
Yeah, you're just battling every round, and it happens pretty often. But I mean, these guys have grinded this far. Nathan's like, I gotta just Emrakul one more guy.
Well, there's a swamp, and here's a discard spell. So now it's time for a Thoughtseize. Going to sacrifice Flooded Strand in response. No Stifles coming here from the Esper Stoneblade deck, so that's going to be okay. We'll see if there's going to be a fight over this Brainstorm, however.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. Brainstorm again shows its power, because not only is it good against hitting land drops, filtering out your deck, etc., but against the Thoughtseize, you're like, trying to hide. All right, so
See what
let's
land he's
this.
going to get. So it's going to be a Tundra. Let's figure out what blue he's going to get. Again, this is a deck that has 14 lands in it, so he doesn't have a ton of lands. He's got 2 March Flats going on 4 polluted deltas, a Misty Rainforest, and a Scalding Tarn, and then the actual lands are tapped for mana, 3 Underground Seas, a Swamp, an Island, and a Tundra. So, ideally he doesn't even have to worry about Wasteland because he just kills the opponent before Wasteland actually matters.
Yeah, mana denial is not the best against the Tin Fins deck.
This feels like a Spell Pierce, and it is, boy. That is a really good Spell Pierce here. So, hand is going to come up. There's a Dark Ritual, and we'll see if we can get that spread out a little bit. I think that might just be copies of Shallow Grave, but not 100% positive.
Yeah, those are Shallow Graves.
Yeah. Shallow Grave, an old school card, so yep.
All right, well, Shallow Grave is one of the other tools you can use, and it's on the screen here. It allows you to animate at instant speed. Pretty important because, and this is a card I remember was a bulk card, and then this deck came out and it went up to $1 million. So definitely, Legacy will do that. If there's a card that was never played at any point in the history of the Magic, and then all of a sudden it's good in Legacy, you'll see the price skyrocket because, I mean, the demand for Legacy is high. It's just getting more popular, and really gaining traction among the Magic community.
Yeah, I mean, and a card like this, as you mentioned, was not a big deal, and then it surfaced into being a really big deal. And, the great thing about Legacy is that you can play these off-the-wall obscure strategies, and we've seen that in the past with a card like Sea Drake. Just a card that doesn't get a ton of play, but, back in the day, that was a really, really hard card to find. Probably still pretty hard to find, even though it doesn't see a lot of play.
The old Sea Stompy. I remember that deck, yeah. And Imperial Recruiter is another one. That's from the Three Kingdoms, which is, rare in itself.
So Shallow Grave goes away. It's going to leave Zamora with a Cabal Ritual, a Cabal Therapy and a Dark Ritual. And the Island lives to draw stuff, and Zamora is going to pass the turn back.
All right, so Kyle obviously knows now what's... I'm pretty sure he knows who he's playing against at this point. Shallow Grave. Unless you're not familiar with Legacy, and some people aren't. And when you play in a format like this, I mean, if I didn't do a little coverage, and I played against this, I would be like, I don't know what in the world this is. So we'll find out.
So Stoneforge on the search. Going to pass the turn back. There's a Cabal Therapy, so we're probably going to see that equipment go bye, bye, bye.
Yep. Therapy is pretty good against Stoneforge missing.
So sacrifice system response. Maybe we'll see a Brainstorm here potentially.
That would be a pretty good response there. Hide that equipment away. Don't get it. And we do see a Brainstorm there, so that is what's going to be happening.
Not too big of a surprise there.
Yeah. All right, so Nathan on a mold of 5, trying his best to combat Kyle. Let's see, what does he really want to draw here? Maybe an Entomb just to get in the graveyard? Maybe, let's see what else he has here. I guess Brainstorm just to draw some cards.
He's got Cataxian Probe too. He's got Ponder as well. So I think what he wants now is just a little bit of manipulation, honestly. Fortunately for him, his deck doesn't have a ton of mana. So here's a Brainstorm response to Cabal Therapy, which is going to resolve. So, Cabal Ritual just trying to clear the path. And then again, he might not be trying to resolve anything. And he's just saying, I just need to get that equipment out of your hand so that your clock is slower.
Yeah. And I'm looking at his list here. And you see Nathan, he's got a copy of Limdul's Vault. I think that card is super sweet.
I love that card.
Yeah, it's definitely a phenomenal Magic card. Doesn't see a lot of play because it doesn't produce card advantage, but it does manipulate your deck more than pretty much any card in Magic does.
Yeah.
Where you get to continue to pay life and look at the top 5 cards and rearrange them. If you don't like what you see, you can pay an additional life, put those 5 on bottom, and look at a fresh new 5 cards. So pretty much you go 5 and 5 and 5 until you find the 5 you want to keep.
So Therapy will show you so much GTA and a sword, so go along with a couple of lands. There's an Island, Underground Sea, and a Flooded Strand. So he did try to name Batterskull, play a little leveling game there. Maybe Edward tries to keep the Batterskull because he knows that Zamora won't name it, but he did hide it away. So and that's exactly what Zamora did name. So a little game of game inside the game there, but the Batterskull is still hanging out.
I've never left a good card with a Jace on top of their library when they have a fetch land out. Never do that. I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to +2 and then look at the card, leave it there with their fetch and play. But then, that one time they don't do it, they get that read on you.
Yep. And you just get embarrassed.
Yep, real embarrassing. I'm not gonna do it.
All right, Zamora looks like he's going to consider casting. It looks like a Taxian Probe, and that's exactly what it's going to be. So, we're going to see Edward's hand. There's the Batterskull, of course. Swords, again, Umezawa Shite, Underground Sea, and a Island. So, again, if Zamora's able to actually cobble some things together, there's no resistance on Edward's side.
No, definitely not. And that's the problem again with Stoneblade Game 1. You just don't have the tools to beat them in the long game. So you have to really get this Batterskull going and hurry this up. Maybe if Kyle has a Force of Will, which he just drew there.
Oh, he hit that one.
He hit that one. That he just had on top. That's pretty good because that is his resistance.
Yeah.
That's the one he needs.
And the big deal there with the Force Will, too, is if you want to infer some information here for Zamora, he didn't sack a Flooded Strand when he had the opportunity to. Yeah. That's a big deal. Yeah. And now Umzawa Shite is going to come into play, and now you're going to get to see an attack here from the creatures.
So the clock is officially sped up here with the Jite.
Yep.
That turns Stone Force Mystic into a 5-power creature from now on. And we see that would be a 2-turn clock by my calculation.
No blue card for the Force right now. The shields are down, so if Zamora's able to somehow cobble something together.
Wow. I would have 100% not done that then.
Yeah, that's a big-time risk. Here's a Ponder.
Risky.
So this is the 1-turn window that Zamora has to try to get there. It's going to shuffle away those cards. There's a silence and some lands in there, so we'll see if he can somehow put it together to get a Gristlebrand in play, because if he gets Gristlebrand in play, that's pretty much it. Yeah. That's how it works.
Yep. After that, the rest is just, process.
Yeah. It's activations of Gristlebrand. You bring in Child of Corliss, gain the life back. You go absolutely bonkers, and we'll get to see if we get to see it happen.
Yeah. If not this game, hopefully the next game. We'll see. We'll see he drew another blue spell, card draw spell.
There's a probe, so now he's going to know about Force.
Yeah, he's actually not paying the life, which is interesting, because it doesn't shorten the clock at all. But, why not? Maybe he doesn't need that mana. It's not like it mattered because he drew another land, which is pretty unlucky because of the sheer, scarcity of the mana in his deck.
Now, one thing that can... I was going to say one thing that could happen is that he could actually hardcast Gristlebrand because he has a Dark Ritual in his hand. So that Swamp turns into 3, 4, 5, 6. Lotus Petal is 7. Land is 8. But again, that Force of Will is the thing that's really messing things up. Also, Edwards does have a Swords of Plowshares in his hand. So
yeah, and with that Force now unlocked with 5 land, there's no reason for Kyle to tap out ever again.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to see a concession on Nathan's turn because it's not really a card he can draw. He needs to draw 2 cards at once. He needs to draw Therapy for the Force of Will or some way to get rid of it out of his hand, and then a way to get Gristlebrand in the graveyard and then in play.
So you see an attack here for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 more GT counters are going to be put back onto here. So Nathan going to take his damage into Caracas, which will make things difficult, and then Force of Will still up. And there's Polluted Delta and going to pick up the rest of his cards. So Kyle Edwards is going to win game number 1 over Nathan Zamora. Esper Stoneblade defeating Tin Fins as both players are going to go to the sideboard. We're going to do the same. I got Zamora's deck list in front of me. You'll see 2 copies of Surgical Extraction, 2 Mindbreak Trap, 2 Silence, a Pull from Eternity, an Echoing Truth, 2 Chain of Vapor, 2 Pith and Yield, 2 Massacre, and a Thoughtseize. So a lot of 2-in-1-ofs here in the sideboard. The big question is what's the best way to apply these cards, and that's a hard question to answer. Echoing Truth could have some things that it does in this matchup. There are Meddling Mages hanging out in Edwards' sideboard. Massacre can actually take care of those Meddling Mages and Stoneforge Mystic. Thoughtseize, Proactive Spell, be able to force through your combo. Chain of Vapor gets the problem cards off the board. Silence makes it so you don't have to worry about counter magic. But as an Esper Stoneblade player yourself, you know that there is both counter magic and discards. So Silence doesn't take care of both the problems.
Yeah, I see. With that problem being, on the table, I'm pretty sure Thoughtseize is the only real card you can board in confidently. Because I don't know, Meddling Mage is such a fringe card. It's not really in the Esper Stoneblade decks. Pretty much, you can guarantee it's not in his deck, and he's going to be real shocked when he sees them. Not only does he have 1 or 2, he has 4 Meddling Mages.
That's a lot of those.
That's a lot of meddling that he's going to be doing. On the other side, we have Meddling Mage, Flusterstorm. Both those guys are coming in, and then Rest in Peace. And here's the danger of playing a Reanimator version instead of the Show and Tell version, is because you are susceptible to that kind of graveyard hate. A Rest in Peace against his deck on turn 2 is pretty devastating, but luckily Nathan's on the play, so by turn 2 he could be dead. He has a copy of Pithing Needle. You can name Gristlebrand with that. Doesn't seem too bad. Definitely shuts off all the card draw that comes with it. Besides that, I don't see much. Definitely not bringing in the Zealous Persecution. That's for those Lingering Souls, all 3 people in the universe that play Lingering Souls. But that's fine. Kyle, keep it up. All right, so
you a little bitter there?
A little bit.
You a little touch bitter there, guy?
I feel like it has someone's name on it, just to kill some things.
I hope in DC you play against a black-white-red deck, kind of like Team Italia, that has Sulfur Elemental and Zealous Persecution.
I hope so, too. I have
a
Dread of Night, too, and then Dinosaur Betrayal. And, it's almost a joke, but that's why I lost in the top 4 against Nick Spagnola in the Invitational.
Oh, really?
He had Dread Dinosaur Betrayal and Dread of Night in play.
Wow.
Just why not?
How'd that feel?
Felt pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I did beat Caleb
are you
Durwood, though.
Are you gonna no-outer then?
Yes.
Yeah,
actually.
that's awesome.
Yep, and I punted too. So we only. I digress.
Hey, you brought it up.
I did.
Not me.
I did. But luckily, that was first time I actually played in a real competitive event with a legacy deck that I was comfortable with.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, it was definitely a decent finish, and I won about 2 matches in standard. So again, as per usual, cannot win in standard, but in legacy for some reason I keep falling down into wins. I don't know
Hey,
what's going on.
sweet format. That's why.
I love it. And I think Kyle's feeling the same juice that I felt there that day. As for Stoneblaze, 6-1-1, a win in, up a game, always feels good. So he's going to try to represent in the top 8.
Well, I know that we have. I think we already have one Esper S deck. Actually, it's the blue-white Stoneblade that Timothy Thomason was playing.
Oh, straight up
we've already
blue-white?
got- yeah, just blue-white, no black. A lot of True Name Nemesis, 3 in his main, 1 in his board. So if you're a fan of this Stoneforge Mystic type decks, that we have at least one of that strategy in the top 8. His deck looked really, really good, so I'll be excited to watch it again. But I want to see who's going to break through here. I want to see Tin Fins again do what it's supposed to do, because when it goes off, it is rather impressive. And again, Zamora has been able to go off 7 times today. He's won 7 matches with this deck. So this deck is incredibly explosive, incredibly powerful, but he did have to mulligan down to 5 that game and lost that one pretty easily. His cantripping didn't really find anything. His discard got countered and all that stuff. So countered via Brainstorm, and then his Brainstorm of his own got countered by Spell Pierce. So let's see if his deck can actually do what it's supposed to.
Yeah, I think it can. I think he just needs a slightly better start than he had last time. And they're taking a pretty good amount of time to sideboard here.
Hey, they want to make sure they have got what they need.
Yeah, got what you need, and we'll find out. So, on other news, people watching and listening, the San Francisco 49ers lost today. As you know, I'm a big 49ers fan.
Mm-hmm.
Devastating.
Yeah.
And I'm still here working, though, somehow. Somehow I'm toughing
You're making
through
it? You're making a sacrifice for us by staying?
Somehow I'm toughing through it. And I appreciate all you guys, your support via Twitter. If you guys want to send some condolences here for the 49ers losing at home to the Carolina Panthers. Come on, Cap. That's all I want to say. I'm good now.
So, as you know, Star City Games is based out of Roanoke, which is close to where the Carolina Panthers play. So no one cares that the 49ers lost. No one. I would say that most of the people in home office are happy that you're miserable right now. Okay?
Are there Carolina fans in the Roanoke office?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, there are.
They should be Redskins fans.
No, they should not. They should not root for the Washington professional football team.
Okay.
No.
All right.
That team is not good. Okay, now you want to be a big boy, you change allegiances like I have, and you root for the Seahawks.
Seahawks?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's what you do. They're
9-1.
They're 9-1, and I haven't fully jumped ship from the Browns, but
I still forgot who the backup to Hoyer was.
And I'm still not going to tell you. That has not changed since yesterday.
Yeah.
I will not tell you.
I completely forgot until right
And
now.
what have I told you about calling him Hoyer?
Is it Hoyer?
Hoyer the Destroyer.
Hoyer the
If
Destroyer.
you're going to talk about him,
Okay.
use his name. It's like the same thing as calling me Cedric instead of Ced.
Is that
use
like
his full name?
Is that like a self-given title or?
That's his name. That's his birth name.
All right.
That's all that he does
It's Destroy.
when he plays football.
He is a
Correct.
very good football player. He'll be back next year. Definitely.
only hope.
Yeah, I hope so. It was, I want to see the Browns do well. It's kind of a stale group there. You got Steelers always doing well, Baltimore right behind them. Then you have the Bungles and the Browns kind of
Look at you.
dredging along. So
That is a mean thing to say.
I like the Bengals. I used to enjoy watch Corey Dillon run back in the day.
When you were like 5.
I was not 5. It was
Yeah.
like 2000. 99, something like that.
All right.
We're old men.
Speak
forgetting.
Speak for yourself, man.
You have 3 years left in life.
We have different definitions of old.
You were almost in the.
I'm a spry chicken.
No, you are a 27-year-old man. It's okay. Almost 30.
Oh, you
Almost.
are 30.
I know.
I'm not almost 30. I'm 27. Not almost anything.
I need help. I need assistance in this group.
I'm almost 28. That's
Yeah.
what I almost said. But Zamora's going to take a mulligan down to 6 here. He can't find 7 to keep in this match, and the most important one.
Oh, yeah,
unfortunately for him.
exactly. And I wonder how often this deck mulligans. It has to be a fair
I think this
amount.
deck has the mulligan a lot, right? You're a 14 land deck. Your deck is weird, and it cobbles together some strange pieces. But, yeah, I think this deck has to probably mulligan a decent amount here.
Yeah, I guess it's the sacrifice you take for winning on turn 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a lot of the combo decks in the format where, the super fast ones, they have to mulligan a lot. Charbelcher mulligans a decent amount. Dredge, obviously, is a deck that mulligans a lot. but Dredge doesn't mind mulliganing that much. These decks that are ridiculously explosive, they do mulligan a healthy amount.
Yep. Yeah, it's the age-old consistency over power.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like that power. I think in DC next weekend you'll be choosing the power route.
I'm going to choose the power route.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose the power route. I have no idea how consistent Reanimator is, so I've seen it in action. I know it's a good deck.
Yep.
I'm really excited to play it because I've never put a Gristlebrand in play before, so that should be fun.
Yeah, I think it's definitely up there in the combo decks. It might be the best deck. It definitely battles Sneak and Show. It gives it a run for its money because you have access to black hand disruption, which a lot of decks just have, do not have.
It seems kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I hope I'm right. I could be wrong, though. I've been wrong before. Be wrong again.
Yeah.
Zamora going to take another mulligan here, so he is really catching the bad end of the variance wheel right now.
Yeah.
As Edwards is just kind of sitting there silently saying, yeah, well, life is good here.
Yep, I am, I'm never upset when I'm playing against an opponent taking a mulligan. I'm upset when I mulligan. But luckily, I don't know if you've ever watched me play or anyone around me in my little clique here. We don't really mulligan enough, and that's kind of why I lose all the time. So, need to work on that skill.
You don't mulligan, man.
No.
You'll just crash and burn.
Yep, I go down
We
with the
don't want
ship.
to see that happen.
Me, the Gerards of the world, people just don't like shuffling their hand back in and drawing one less card.
Yeah. See, you look at mulliganing as a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I grew up playing Magic, in my college years with Jerry, where Jerry said mulligan's not a bad thing. Mulligan's something you get to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're very happy to take mulligan. You look at it as a punishment, but it's an option.
It feels like a punishment.
No, it's just an option.
What about the labor involved?
You can
Does that play a
throw
role
it.
at all?
Well, here's the thing. I love shuffling decks and cards.
Oh, okay.
So that's not like a laborious activity for me at all. I actually love doing it.
Okay.
Some people, that's like a complaint people have. It's like fetch lines are so annoying. I have to shuffle so much. I love shuffling.
Oh, okay.
When I sit at my desk when I'm working during the week, I just shuffle a deck.
You know what happened to me when I shuffled too much? I got carpal tunnel.
That's not a thing. That's a made-up thing that doesn't actually happen. So.
Ask Caleb. Ask myself.
Yeah,
it's devastating.
I don't know what that is. I shuffle all day.
Yeah.
I'm no Kibbler, but I shuffle a lot.
Give it a year.
Wow,
Give it a year.
Zamora is just going to keep his hand and pass the turn. So this is a difficult situation for Nathan. And you can see he's frustrated, and I would be too. When you're playing for top 8, you're having a good tournament at 7-1. Just need to get one more, and you run into a player who you can't draw with.
Right.
Top 8. So everything is just kind of falling apart for him right now.
Yeah, and I think he drew a swamp, so we have a land.
That's the start.
He has Lotus Petal as well.
Yep.
But on a mold of 5, a lot of these cards you draw can be real stinkers. So let's see if Nathan can at least attempt the combo. He does draw Grizzlebrand. Much better in the graveyard than in hand.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Except for unless you're sneaking and showing, though. It's weird. There's so many different combo decks that I'd like to get these in play in many different ways. So we'll see if he can get that in play somehow. All right, so we're tapping some mana. And Kyle plays in. Rest in peace.
Jeez.
R.I.P.
All right, I have bad news. I have seen this show before.
Have you?
I believe this happened to Jacob Corey in the finals of the Legacy Open where he got knocked out, I think, by an Esper Stoneblade player, and I think there was a rest in peace involved. It's very, very hard card for Tin Fins to beat.
Yes.
Putting it lightly.
Yeah, that is definitely an understatement. That card is pretty much defeat Reanimator written all over it.
Yeah.
Every way you can read it. Rest in peace, definitely one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, graveyard hate ever printed.
Yeah.
It has the 2 modes. It gets rid of it right when it comes into play. It gets rid of it for the rest of the game. And definitely not overpriced at the cost of 2 mana.
Yep. The only thing that's wrong with it is not blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then it would just be perfect. Here's a Misty Rainforest comes into play.
That's pretty much with every card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lightning Bolt blue, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it might as well be. Yeah, and looking at the ways for Nathan to get out of the situation again, he's got an Echoing Truth, he's got 2 Chain of Vapors to kind of get himself out of this. So he's basically drawing the 3 outs because he can't go off when that card's in play. He doesn't have a card like Show and Tell or anything of that nature to be able to go off. So
yeah, he'd have to ritual, like you mentioned in game 1, the hard way.
Yeah, to get the Grizzlebrand, which would be sweet.
Yep.
As now sort of Fire and Ice, is going to come into play off of Stoneforge Mystic on the end of Zamora's turn. Edward's going to untap. We'll probably see an Equipsies here, which we do see. And now the pressure is on because we've got 5 points of damage coming across. 1 from the Mystic, 2 from the +2/+2 on the sword, and then 2 from the actual damage trigger on the sword.
Yep.
So that's looking at now a 3-turn clock.
It's definitely the coolest of all the equipments, easily. I think it's has just those things you want to do. It kills creatures, it draws cards. Definitely two of the better abilities. And of course, the protections are real sweet too. Pro Red against a lot of decks back in the day was just lights out, and Pro Blue in this format can't be jaced. So there's a lot of cool things that go with it. And Kyle, the kid in him, Edwards, is going to play sort of or I almost said two, Fire and Ice. And I'm kind of jealous. I kind of want to play it now too.
Snapcaster Mage comes in, and this is just to add to the clock. Does this change anything here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what this does is it's going to still be a 3-turn clock, but what this does is make it so that Nathan won't be able to sack a fetch land profitably here.
Right, and he has Rest in Peace in place, so Snapcaster's worth.
Oh, and there's a tar pit out there, so yeah, it's actually just going to be a 2-turn clock, and he's getting super aggro now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's actually puts more down to 5. You see him add up the damage. You've got 1 from the Mystic, 2 from the Sword, 2 from the Snapcaster, 3 from the tar pit. That's going to be 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then Sword Trigger makes it 9 and 10. So he's going to sacrifice both of these lands as Zamora. He's going to go down to 3, and he's going to hope.
Let's see a Chain of Vapor in a turn, huh?
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, Chain of Vapor, Entomb, Reanimate. Last few cards.
Reanimate's not going to do it, just so that you know.
Excuse me.
All right, Shallow Grave or Goryo's Vengeance is fine.
Reanimate.
Well, there's a singleton Reanimate in this deck.
Oh,
yeah,
true.
so it's like, I don't think you want to do that, Shaheen.
No, that's not a good one, no.
That is a negative life total, my friend.
No, definitely not.
Draw a card.
That is not it.
Yep. And that's going to do it. So, Kyle Edwards is going to win this match over Nathan Zamora. Esper Stoneblade does defeat 10 Fins, and I believe that is going to make it so that Edwards is able to get into the top 8 here at 7-1-1. You see Zamora walks away. He's a bit frustrated, understandably so. You know,
Right.
was a nice enough guy to shake his hand and things like that.